Welcome to the Self First Podcast. I'm your host, Amber Anderson, but you can just call me Coach A. This is a space for healing, growth, and wholeness, learning to love others, but not losing yourself. Today's episode is called Friends, Boundaries, and Self First. And I have a special guest here with me today, one of my childhood friends who has always held a special place in my heart. I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Teneshia Harrison, mom, nurse, mentor. And I'm really glad to be here. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. So you were the very first person that I asked to be a guest on one of my episodes. How did you feel about when I hit you up about getting on the podcast?
Nervous,
But
also honored because there's a lot of people out here that you could choose to come on this platform to represent you. So I'm super excited and was honored that you actually chose me, to be on the forefront of your mind, to be like, let me get her here.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I may have something to say.
I think you got something to say, and I'm excited for the world to get to hear what you have to say today. And I think it's really cool. So I gave you some options of what episodes to do. And this was one that you chose. And that's pretty cool to me because rewind all the way back to childhood for me, our friendship was such a big moment. And in about 8th grade up until graduating, came out of nowhere.
I mean, out of
Do you
nowhere.
remember?
Still today, I don't even remember how we even met.
I know. I
Besides
remember
through mutual friends. And I'm like, how did this even become? Right? It was just one of those things that it just was.
I remember. It was that play at A-Bell. You remember that play?
Yeah.
I had to be the DJ.
And I was,
and you had
okay, that's where the DJ came from.
And you had to sing that song. Did you sing it or did you just mouth it? The Kelly Price song.
I mouthed
Talk about
it.
getting married. 13, 14-year-olds, he proposed to me. So that's where we met.
We were in the auditorium at Daniel. That's crazy.
But yeah, Teneshia, we probably spent more time together in our childhood than we did apart. Once we became friends, and I used to cry when you couldn't
I used to cry too because I didn't want to go home. Like from the Black Honda to the DJ Ambo to all the things. I remember we used to sit in there just listening to music for hours, right? I remember sleeping in your mama's bed. Yeah.
But so to go from that to go from that in our childhood to adulthood, having space and distance and watching each other from afar, still celebrating each other. It's kind of cool to me that we're going to talk about friendships and boundaries, but also how sometimes you have seasons and reasons for friendships. So we might even have a conversation that we've never truly had as friends because we just kind of let it be what it is.
Because as adults, we just haven't really had this closeness since then. So I think this is going to be a cool opportunity.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Let's get to it.
All right.
Well, when it comes to you today and friendships, how would you describe who you are in your friendships now versus maybe in the past 5-10 years ago?
I would say evolving because I have seen myself kind of morph into this different person, not different from who I was before because I'm still that same person. And you being a person who has known me for a long time knows I've always been vocal about what I like and what I don't like, right? But I have learned how to put that in a package that other people can digest. Because as an adolescent, we often pop off. We say things without...
Crash out.
Yeah.
The kids say nowadays.
Crash out, right? We say things without limits.
Yeah.
And so as an adult and being in different relationships with children and friends and now a spouse, it has helped me to now package that differently. But also to set boundaries for myself and those relationships that I'm in.
Yeah.
So evolving for sure.
So how would you say you set those boundaries? What does that look like?
Making my yes mean yes and my no mean no. And, still sticking to, like I said, with what I say, but also if I say it, making sure that that's actually what I mean, but also not leaving anything questionable on the table. So I don't have to explain why I say no, but letting that be enough for me and for them. But also letting go of that kind of people-pleasing tendency to feel like I have to over-explain and I have to give reason. But setting those boundaries looks like, is this going to help them? And is it going to help me too?
Me too. That's
me too.
Yeah. Because we do a lot to help and serve others. But what is this doing for me?
Right.
So I think that me too is very important, but also my no is enough.
It is enough.
No explanation
Comes with
needed.
a period at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was like having to adjust to that? I'm assuming maybe in the past that hasn't always been your story. Maybe you've done
Oh,
some
yeah.
people pleasing or just, considering others way too much.
Oh, way too much. Way too much. I even like remember just even in my adolescent years when it came to other friendships, sometimes it felt forced. And then sometimes, you get into this routine of wanting to make sure that everyone else is happy at the expense of what you want, what you don't want. So allowing myself to say, you know what? I really don't want to do that. Although I want to be there to support you, how can I verbalize that so that you understand I support you, but that's just not for me.
Yeah,
And being okay with that.
absolutely.
Sometimes has it been painful? Absolutely, because you want to stay connected with certain people, but sometimes it just doesn't align with where you are right now.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and you can't at the expense of you can't try to be there for everybody else.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, you listened to the episode a couple of weeks ago when I talked about losing yourself and setting boundaries so you're not abandoning yourself. I mentioned on the episode how at times we try to make other people happy, and almost every time that other people happiness is at the center, we're probably unhappy.
Oh, yeah.
It's not worth it.
It's not, and I've had to realize that not only in my friendships, but just my relationship, even with my spouse and my children. I went through this phase of trying to figure out who am I outside of the titles that I carry. If I take away mom, if I take away spouse or wife, if I take away the nurse or any professional titles that I have, who am I? What do I even like? And so looking at myself at one point, I'm like, everything that I do is surrounded by the people that I love that I'm trying to keep happy, but what's in it for me? I get satisfaction from seeing you happy, but what am I actually getting from this? How is this pouring into me?
All right.
And so that helped me to sit back and say, okay, you need to reevaluate how you show up for you
So you can show up for others.
so you can show up for others.
I was watching a TikTok one day and it was some lady asking someone in the audience. So she must have been maybe on a podcast situation or something, but she asked somebody in the audience, who are you? And the lady started blurting off, I'm a mom, I'm this, I'm that. And she was like, you still haven't told me who you are. Yeah,
Exactly.
those are all titles that's attached to us and what we do. You're telling me what you do, but who are you? So I definitely think we all need to take that inventory of ourselves to know who we are so that we can know how to set those boundaries. It's hard to set boundaries without knowing who you are.
It's very hard because again, your boundary setting will be based on, well, I love Amber, but I'm going to do these things because this is what makes her happy. Well, no, what makes you happy?
Yeah.
Because if they're not there anymore, what is left? Everything that is defining you that's attached to them will go away when they go away.
Right.
How do you define yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, and we're going to talk about that a little bit because in friendships they sometimes go away. Not sometimes. Most
lot of times,
times they go
yeah.
away. I've definitely learned that you can't force forever with friendships. And I remember when I was younger, I learned that someone said it somewhere that friendships, some of them are for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. To the point where I'm like, man, those lifetime friends, they come very far, few and in between. So let's talk about that for a minute. When it comes to all friendships not being able to go every distance with you, when is the first time that you realized that there was a friendship, especially in adulthood, that was not going to go for forever?
I think I look at forever a little bit differently.
Okay.
Because for me, it's about consistency. So I have one best friend. I won't name her on here, but I have one best friend that I've been friends with for over 25 years, right? We don't live anywhere near one another. She lives 3 hours away from here. We don't talk every day. Sometimes we don't even talk every week. But to me, the consistency of who she is for me, and the way that she shows up for me and I for her makes forever look a little bit differently.
Oh, that's
Because now the new era friendships, right, make you think we have to be side by side all the time, seeing each other all the time, when that's just not reality.
Group pictures all the time.
Right. That's just not the reality when you're an adult and you have adult things to do, like family and job and things of your own. So I think that forever looks a little bit differently for me. I have a lot of longtime friends that I don't necessarily talk with all the time, but the love is still the same. But when I run into situations where I see that these people just can't go with me, it's usually a character flaw that doesn't align with my character. Yeah. And that's when I'm like, okay, you got something else going on. I don't want to be a part of that. You go forth, right?
So Vader stuff.
Go forth wherever you may be, out of my face. I mean, look, go forth over there.
Not over here.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So forever looks a little bit differently for me. And I'm just really picky about the people that I bring into my space.
Yeah.
For my own peace of mind, but also you just can't, everyone isn't authentic and genuine. Some people just want to be a part of the situation because it looks good on social media. Right?
That's good. Yeah. And, when it comes to boundaries, a lot of people think boundaries mean cut off. That's not what boundaries mean. Boundaries, in my opinion, is for our own protection. And I'm thinking about you just saying, like, you are very protective about who comes into your space. You got to be.
Have to be.
Yeah.
Like, that's your personal space. And I think sometimes people look at boundary as a bad word, right? So I think of a boundary as a wall. We even look at that as a bad word.
Yeah.
But a wall is there to protect you from something that could harm you or to keep something out that just doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
So that boundary or that wall is there for my safety. That's my safety net, because whatever's on the other side of that just does not serve me well. And I have to be okay with saying this wall is here to protect me. And I'm putting this up on the other side to protect myself, because I don't want whatever's over there to penetrate me over here. So the boundary is not a bad thing. To me, it's a good thing. Not only does it help you to keep out the things that are no longer for you, but it helps you to be accountable to yourself, to the things that you do want. Boundaries are a good thing for me with family, friends, professional relationships, platonic relationships, whatever it may be. It's just a safe haven and it's a protective mechanism.
Right.
You put up the boundary. You basically are saying, this is what I choose to accept and this is what I don't want to accept, and then stick with it.
Yeah. And even in that, you're using a wall as an example. And I'm thinking about, this space that we're in right now. It's an open floor plan. But some people love the open floor plan, but some people are like, I want to separate the kitchen from the living room. And I don't think that's for not necessarily just a safety reason. That could just be, I don't want what's going on in here to be felt or seen over there. So even when you think about a boundary from a space of, this isn't even because I'm afraid of you, it's even a space where my boundary is, you got some stuff going on, I got some stuff going on. They don't need to bleed over into each other's spaces. Yeah. Or even from a standpoint of, this is what I do have going on. This isn't for you. It isn't for you to have to feel like you got to carry. I think boundaries are really good in friendships when it comes to, I don't want to put all this weight on your shoulders and I don't want to carry all your weight.
Hello.
I ain't got time. So,
right.
Right. So in our adult friendships, I'm definitely for the boundaries. I just feel like sometimes everyone don't understand that boundaries doesn't have to be seen as something negative.
People don't understand boundaries because they a lot of times feel like, oh, well, you're keeping me out, when it's not even about you.
Yeah.
It's about me, right? It's about what I need in this moment to preserve my peace. It's not even about you. To be honest, I'm really not concerned with what you have going on. This is solely about what I need in this moment. And I feel like that's what helps you to point out the people that you need to have closer to you as well, because they will respect that. Yeah. If people don't respect the boundary that you have in place, even for family, then that lets you know you probably kind of need to distance a little bit, because it's just not a safe space for you to grow there. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I've learned that I need to make friends with people that got a lot going on like me.
Understood.
It's hard being friends with folks that might just be sitting around doing just a little bit. Maybe they got a different family dynamic, a different work situation. But they sit around and they might make you feel some type of way by not having enough time.
Or they got a little bit of time and I ain't got not nan time.
Right. Please know and understand that every time that something shifts, it's a privilege and an honor. And it's really like no room.
I'm a huge proponent for, like, I'm going to shoot you a text. Like I texted you last week. I was literally driving, but voice to text will get some things out that need to be said in the moment, right?
Right.
So just shooting a text to somebody to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Hey, you're on my mind. Are you okay? It doesn't require me to have to sit down on the phone with you for 3 or 4 hours or to even talk about other people. I just want you to know you're on my mind. I'm thinking about you. Have a good day.
Right.
Right. And that's all it takes.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this extravagant thing like, I have to go post on social media that, hey, I messaged my friend. And
Right.
it doesn't have to be all that. It just needs to be an authentic, genuine approach. And I feel like that helps your boundary for not feeling like you're overextending yourself,
Yeah.
but also the boundary for the other person because who wants to be on the phone all day?
So, like, have you ever realized a friendship was more seasonal for you? And if that's the case, how did it end? Did you have to put it to an end or did it just kind of fade away?
The ones that I've had just kind of faded on their own and they never resurfaced back.
Yeah.
And I've been okay with that because
Right.
in the back of your mind, you already know after having interaction with certain people, if you see yourself aligning with that person and the things that they do, their values, their character. And so once I already have that in my mind based on what they have shown me, even just their loyalty to other people, if every conversation that we have is about someone else, I know I'm probably not going to fit into this,
Yeah.
right? So when they exit out, okay, you don't get a text from me because I know this was God's way of kind of pivoting and making sure that I don't get caught up in whatever you have going on.
Right. So, what about some of the friendships that maybe you felt like deserved some type of explanation? Things were coming to an end. It felt seasonal. It felt like a reason that y'all might have built that friendship, but you know that maybe you're growing apart, going different directions. How have you been able to address those moments with your adult friends?
I honestly don't know if I have. Probably the only one that I honestly have had that has drifted that way is probably you. And that's just being honest because I don't have a ton of close knitted people. And in the middle of the probably 3 people that I had, you were one of the 3. And the other one is no longer here with us. And the other one is a friend that I talked about. So I don't have a lot of people that I have had that close knitted relationship with. So I haven't experienced that very often, except probably with you,
Right.
which is a conversation we've just never had. I feel like it kind of just first, like when I went off to college and we both kind of went our separate ways and it just never fully went away, but we kind of watched each other in the distance. And then moments like now where we just show up.
Yeah. That's what we've been doing, showing
Just
up.
showing up. Yeah. Shooting you a text. Like, hey,
Right.
or I send you something in the mail, like random.
And I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
If I could go open that cabinet,
Yeah,
I
I was
probably
like,
could pull
is
it out.
this a little weird? Like, I don't want this might be weird.
Yeah, she sent me a mug and and
shaped
it's
like a
it's a
lens.
mug like a camera lens and I love it. But that was big. I'm like, it didn't feel weird, but it's like, where did this
It's like,
come
where did this
from?
come? This is
But
random.
but it was such a huge gesture that just let me know that like we still solid.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm genuinely one of those people, if I see something that I think you just may like, and I actually like you, I'm going to go out of my way to spend my money and do something, even if it was only $10, just to
Right.
say, "Hey, I'm thinking about you. I figured you would like this." Now, you could have thrown it in the trash and be like, "I don't want that from that Joker," right? But I'm glad
Joker. Do
Yeah,
you say Joker? Or do you know I
say
say
Joker
Joker?
because you say like that's been a word for a long
Yes.
time. Yeah, right? Because you have, more filtered speech than I do. So
It's actually getting bad. I
you're
learned that
adulting.
bad words aren't necessarily bad
They're not
words.
bad. It's an
But I mean, on
expression
the
of
podcast, I
speech.
still have to be a little.
Yeah, an expression of speech.
Mhm.
See? I said, Joker, this is your space, boundaries.
I appreciate you respecting the boundaries in this space.
Man. No,
Man.
but, and I have to ask you, like, in that space for you, when it pertained to our friendship and boundaries, like, how did that feel for you?
So I really think it was me. When it come to a lot of my childhood friendships kind of didn't make it past college for me. And I think it was because I was discovering myself in such a way that I almost didn't know that if I would still be acceptable to people. So instead of allowing people to make that decision or saying, nah, we still good, or saying, no, I don't want to be attached to you and your lifestyle and all those different things out of fear of rejection, I just started pushing people away.
Okay.
So that possibly could have been the case because as I've looked back and did an inventory over where did people go? Like, where do people go in my life? I really think a lot of people are in different positions because I just slowly started pushing people away out of fear of rejection.
Well, disclaimer, it's not because she wasn't a good friend. Let's just say that. Like, she's always been top tier. Okay?
I appreciate that.
Always been that. You know, it's kind of disheartening that you even had to feel that way, right? And for me, I think I have kind of blocked a lot of things out just from my own trauma response that I never probably even saw that, right? And so looking at it now, it's like, okay. So I'm sorry, I didn't recognize that.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, because we were still young and it's
young.
such a self-discovery point of our life.
Very.
We're at college, and I'm sure that's a fun in itself. Like you're probably making, new seasonal friends or in the moment friends.
And a part of it may have been I got into this relationship with this guy too, who's now my husband.
I remember them days.
Who's now my husband, but I got into this relationship with him, which kind of toured and kind of changed, the trajectory of kind of like some of my friendships too. Matter of fact, I remember after him and I started dating, I think I saw you at the bowling alley. Do you remember that night?
In the Anderson bowling alley?
Yeah.
I think I briefly
There's like a couple other people there, a couple other mutual friends. I think you can't really put it all on you because I think about just kind of the course of my own life and how things took a different direction and what may have led to that as well. And, a part of that could have been, well, I'm just going to push her off because now she got somebody and I don't want to be a burden, which would not have been a burden, but okay.
And honestly, again, like we've never had this conversation, but I know that like for me, how we were, it felt like this was supposed to be some like all the time.
BF forever.
Yeah. I mean, like for real. We've cried the most tears probably with each other.
Most.
Yeah, what was we crying?
It was some CDs you made.
Yeah. That is in our we thought we was going through it.
I'm telling you. What are y'all in here crying about?
It's okay. We had each other.
We did. It definitely feels good to be able to kind of like look back on that and say, at least we know like the spark of our friendship is still there.
Yeah.
Your distance, or time or whatever it may be. Like, and I'm glad as adults, like we can reflect back on this now and be like, you know what? I still rock with you. Like,
yeah, because nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Like, and I think in my mind, I often like replayed, like, did I do something? Because I was a little kind of a loose cannon, Did I do something? Did I say something? Was I offensive? And I'm like, I don't think so. But then that would be selfish of me to say I'm not and not ask, right? Was I?
Nah, it was, I think it just happened.
And I have to ask because I remember, and this is probably totally off subject from our boundaries, but maybe not, because this helped me kind of circle back and kind of bring myself in. One of my friends, the one who's no longer here, her cousin came to me at one point and she was like, oh, she used to talk about you all the time, how you were such a good friend, but she also said that you would hurt somebody's feelings. And I was like, wait a girl, that's why you don't know me. But anyway, I was like, wow, like, is this how people actually perceive me? So it made me adjust how I was showing up for other people because it allowed me.
What age do you feel like this was?
This was 29.
Oh, so this is recent. Like
recent. This has been like within the past 10 years, 8 to 10 years where I was like, oh, wow. Like I didn't realize that that's how other people perceive me. I'm thinking that I'm showing up in an honest, genuine, and kind way.
Right.
And just because I'm authentically being myself doesn't mean it has to come at the expense of hurting other people or at least making them feel like I'm trying to hurt them. So it made me reevaluate how I speak to people, what I say to people, and really made me take my time to say, should you even say that? If you say that, is it going to benefit you or them? And if it didn't, then I just don't. Not that it's making me revert back to being quiet and no longer setting boundaries, but healthy spaces for the people that I'm in relationship with, but also myself, because I don't want that to be anyone's perception of me.
Yeah.
So I had to set that boundary with myself. Like, even if you want to say that, how can you mix that up and say that a different way?
If I had to even imagine what context that was coming from, it had to be from a place of just knowing that you will say what you want to say. And maybe a little firecracker. Soft is a donut.
And spoken.
It might have been.
All three of you are like that. That's what's crazy.
Right.
All three of you are very soft spoken, very tenderhearted.
But you are rock.
I'm telling you, and now everybody's like, you made me become stronger. I'm like, no, don't tell anybody that.
So I probably from a space of, I don't have my feelings hurt. Just at maybe how you said something, the way you said it, but it was real and it was true. And I just couldn't handle it.
Well, and I still have to say I'm sorry because
I don't even remember.
Well, just because you can't remember doesn't mean it might not be there somewhere. Okay, so I still have to say in front of the world, the world. You hear that? I'm sorry, because that's never my intention, But I do want to be honest in who I am. I don't want to fluff anything up for the people that I love and I care about, but I also want to do that with love.
Yeah.
Right? Because it does me no good to be honest with anyone if you block out what I'm telling you because of how I said it.
That's a message. Because I was gonna say, like, I don't think I would ever say that nowadays. Because I am absolutely for being honest. Say it how you need to say it. My friends call me an a-hole all the time, and I'm looking like, how? But it's really just because
My own sister tells me that.
right. It's just because I say it how it needs to be said, and I set the boundaries. And I honor myself in knowing that, like, this is where I stand. I didn't do that well back when we were friends at all. So I probably couldn't respect it.
Okay. Which makes sense. But I respect the fact that you were able to set boundaries now, which makes it harder as an adult, I feel like, because other adults are mean.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like it's harder to set boundaries now as an adult, but for you to be able to be that voice for yourself now, it's like, I'm like clapping.
Yeah. I'm so happy for me.
I'm so happy for you too. I love that.
I'm so happy for me. And when people kind of call me out on it, it's like, I'm not willing to budge. So,
no, but it's like, am I a-hole or are you just too sensitive?
Yeah. Hello.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you just not honest enough? Like, my reply always is, was I lying? If I wasn't, then I'm not an a-hole.
Yeah. And you don't have to take it so personal.
No.
Yeah. This is how I responded was for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. So that just took its own course.
It did.
We had a conversation.
It was a much needed and good conversation. So I'm thankful.
It
for that.
was.
Yeah.
When it comes to purpose and friendships, can you think back on some of your friendships that you've had that it felt like I have purpose here? Don't really know where it came about, but I can tell that there's a purpose for me being in this person's life. How do you go about when the purpose feels like you serve that purpose?
There's a rolling theme in all of my friendships. I'm like you said, I'm kind of the rock, the driving force kind of that helps to hold everybody together. And when that becomes too much for me, I don't really know what that looks like because I don't think I've ever actually tried to point it out to see. So I would not know because my normal makeup is just to do and to help.
Yeah.
So if I see that someone needs something, I'm going to shoot you that text or I'm going to use my discernment in that moment to text you because I feel like something, I just feel something.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I felt that or if I even know what that looks like for me yet. So that gives me something to work on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
I definitely have had friendships where I felt like I'm in this person's life for this reason, for a purpose. But sometimes when you show up for people for a purpose, you also can maybe recognize that everything isn't aligned. This might not be a friendship that I would have connected with if it didn't feel like God is calling me. So when it comes time to maybe put a little space in between or the boundary in between because purpose has served its purpose, then sometimes it's kind of hard because that person might be like, they might see you as a lifetime friend, as that bond being tight all the time. So they might not recognize or understand the distance in the midst of the friendship. Not distance of like, we can't be friends anymore, but more so distance of, I can't give you all of this that I've given you in the past that was for purpose.
Right.
It's time for me to go distribute this back into spaces
to somewhere else.
Yeah, it was maybe pulled from. I felt that before. I've even prayed to God, like at times, why do it feel like you keep putting me in people's lives for a purpose, for a reason? When I do like to stay attached to people, at least I used to. I think I'm kind of shifting a little bit.
Okay.
I think life is showing me that, like,
because you now recognize most of these are only for purpose.
That yes,
right?
And I'm trying to get my feelings hurt.
God is strengthening you.
But no, like, also I'm recognizing that their purpose and there's reason there, but I'm learning that I don't always have the capacity to maintain lifelong friendships in the way that people want that friendship to look like.
Without it to be a strain and a pull on me.
It requires people to know and understand that, like, Amber's not going to always pick up the phone to call. Amber's going to say no a lot because Amber got a lot going on. But Amber loves you. Amber hasn't moved on you.
The answer is still no.
Yeah, but the answer is still no, and I don't want to feel the pressure of having to say yes or the pressure of you feeling some type of way because of my no. Like, I don't know what I expect for people, but what I keep saying is that I just want us to all be adults out here. And I don't know if that's what people are under.
The new age adults aren't adults. But I want to circle back for real. They're real childish.
Yeah.
I think the reason why I, again, don't really know what that feels like is because I'm very selective into the people that I bring into my space. And a lot of the people that I have brought into my space are not new people. And I don't have any like new relationships. But I also feel like for me, I do that a lot with cutting people off and serving a purpose in my work life.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the people that I work with, I only see for a limited amount of time. So I pour into them from a leadership standpoint, and then I know what my purpose is, and I wash my hands and I move on. Do I still receive text messages? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, I do. But I also know I serve my purpose with you.
Right.
Let's move around.
Yeah. I get that. So do you ever feel guilty about that? Like, do you feel guilty about communicating your boundaries or moving?
No. No, seriously. Sometimes I do. Only in certain instances. Usually when it's pertaining to family, right? Because you want to be there for people. All the things. But it is really hard sometimes to tell people no when people have become solely dependent on you and your yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So me telling them no may be pure devastation, or it could be them lacking something because they just didn't take the time to do what they needed to do to prepare instead of expecting me to say yes.
The day.
So there comes the boundary.
Hello.
Right. Comes the boundary with, I'm not your savior. I need you to adult in a good way, but also I'm going to say no because you're not learning the lesson. And I can't keep sacrificing myself, my finances, my time, my family, my home to say yes to you. And you don't care enough to say yes to yourself.
Hello. I can do a whole episode on that.
Oh, yeah, because it just doesn't serve me well. And it doesn't serve you well with me always telling you yes and you learning nothing from the situation.
Right. Nor does it serve you when I'm always telling you no, and now you have created this wedge between us because you think I don't care about you,
Right.
or I'm being mean,
You
or
don't
all
ever
those different.
show up.
Yeah, like you putting all these labels on me because I set a boundary that protects myself. So I don't get it.
No, put a boundary on your phone that says do not call her.
Yeah, because
I
I can't handle it. The new age adults.
Everybody's so needy. Everybody's so entitled.
How did we get here?
Coddling feelings. So instead of people saying yes or no, we started answering with maybe.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to hurt people's feelings. So now when we give a strong yes or a strong no, they're like, can you just think about it? No.
I already said what I said.
No, like the answer is no. And now they're in their feelings because everybody's so used to getting their way. So now even the children are like this, right? They're used to getting their way. So now the adults are like this too. Everybody wants a yes at the expense of someone else.
Yeah. And I'm a little too expensive.
Hello, my time?
Yeah.
Wait, no.
I can't.
Yeah.
I get it. So, are there some boundaries that you wish that you had set earlier in life?
Absolutely. Even outside of, just friendships, even in my marriage, right? I wish that I had been as vocal as I am. That's probably the one place where I wasn't as vocal. Looking back, there were times when I wish I would have said more. And then when I finally said more, it kind of felt like it was too late. It's just like, well, if I say something, will this be burdensome? So I do wish that I had set more boundaries then. But then when I started saying something, it was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like, who is this? Where'd all the rigmarole come from? Like,
rigmarole.
Where's all this coming from? So I do feel like I have learned lessons there that taught me how to navigate better in other areas. It taught me how to stand up more and say more of what's on my mind versus, don't shrink yourself down, whether a person in stature or height or whatever. I do feel like I could have done something a little bit differently for myself there. But in friendships, I don't feel like I've left anything on the table for me to come back and say, I wish that I had dealt with that person differently. Because again, I pretty much say what I mean and mean what I say. I mean, you said there were times when you have, but I just don't that's just not my story right now.
Well, we ain't gonna make one of
Yeah.
we just gonna let that be your
I've just always been kinda, this boisterous person, and it's helped me in a lot of ways, and then a lot of ways I've had to learn how to just navigate differently.
Yeah. So when it comes to the word friends, do you feel like we use that word too loosely?
Yes, way too loosely. Just like I'm very selective. Now we switch out the word friend for sis, right?
Mm.
I don't even use that word unless it's somebody I feel safe with.
Yeah.
If I don't feel safe with you, I don't call you that. I just be like, hey, girl, hey, chick,
Yeah.
but when I feel safe, that's when you get an endearing name from
Mhm.
me. Otherwise, that's just my own boundary and how I don't cross the line or to make someone else believe that you mean something to me or have a place in my life that just doesn't exist. So I feel like when you call someone a friend or a sis, that is significant of close connection. Like my sister, like you and your sister, you close. Me and my
Mhm.
sister, we're close. You don't
Right.
just call anybody your sis. But now it's just kind of being thrown around. It's the same thing for friend. A friend should mean something really important. It should be loyalty attached to that. It should be good communication attached to that. But now, hey friend, you just have to just set a boundary with the word. And there's other words you can use. Hey girl. Hey my dude. What's up?
Mhm.
You ain't gotta call them nothing. Just say hey.
Right. That's true.
Just say hey.
Yeah. And I also feel like when we change the terms that we're using, that we will now be able to set certain expectations.
For sure.
If I'm out here calling my friend, but it's really more like an associate or my
Yeah.
coworker or just my homie or whatever, then maybe you won't have such friend expectations of me.
But I think we sometimes do that because it's a void there that we want. So we start putting labels on people for what we need from them when they may not even be able to show up in that capacity.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm putting something on you that you can't even give me.
Right.
And then I'm upset when you can't give it to me.
It don't work.
No, it doesn't work. So
You just setting yourself up for failure.
you are. So just say hey and bye.
Yeah.
You don't have to put a comma or anything behind it. Just plain
And
until you know for sure.
yeah, and after just hearing you say that, I keep going back to childhood because I feel like you are pretty much the same. Like 13, 14-year-old
Yeah.
Tanisha was very, very much like, I don't do this.
I'm not
If
going
I'm
to.
going to do this, then don't hurt me.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I am going to do this, know that I meant it when I did it.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like, and it's funny because a lot of people will say, oh my gosh, you're just the same. And a part of me wants to be like, yes, I am. But then there's so many other layers to me that are different and that have grown. But again, that's not for everybody to see them.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with people thinking, oh my gosh, you're just the same because they're looking at it from that perspective.
Right.
Like your personality is still the same. You're very boisterous as you were before. And I'm okay with that because other people will never get to experience the evolution of the person that I've had to become. Yeah.
That's good. When it comes time to let go, what are some of the signs for you that a friendship is time to end it?
A big one for me is when I feel like are on the brink of ending. It's just I feel like a nagging, like a lot of the things that they do or say, I realize it just doesn't sit right with me. Or you know how you're around somebody for a while and you notice like, I never noticed how much they do this. Now this is starting to really get on my nerve.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And I don't know what it is about them. So then you start distancing yourself because the thing that they're doing is aggravating you.
Yeah.
I think that's your cue to kind of like start tiptoeing out to see if they even notice that you're gone because obviously there's something deep down that they're doing as a part of their character, it's a part of their personality that just doesn't sit well with you. And you have to be okay with stepping back, even if that's just for a minute. But I feel like for me, if I'm going to step away from someone, it's going to be because something just isn't aligning or something that they're doing just doesn't sit well with me, just with my own convictions or my own character and whatever that may be. But people are different, but I don't like a lot of gossiping. Or if you're doing a lot of gossiping, then I'm probably going to step back because if you're spending a lot of time telling me about Tom, Dick, and Harry that I don't even know them, I shouldn't know all their business. So what are you telling them about me? So for me, that's one of them.
I've kind of struggled with this a little bit in my adulthood because I'm trying to figure out when things might not align, but it's not a negative disalignment. It's just, we're going in different spaces or different rates in life. I have a couple of friendships where I'm like, I wish that it felt like we could have more substance, but it doesn't have to, it's not a bad thing. It's just, we kick it, but I don't really go to you when things are heavy in my life. It's just,
You're not a source of reliability.
yeah.
Right?
So I struggle with like, does this mean that this friendship might not be serving the same purpose in my life? Or it's okay that we aren't so connected on like, you the person that I'm going to lay my burdens on, or you're the person that I'm going to go to advice, but you're the person that I might go to the kick it with, to have a drink with, or go hang out with. So I struggle with the placements of those friendships.
Yes. And I think it really just comes from who makes you feel safe, right? Because you can't lay all of your burdens at everybody's feet. So you have to go with where you're safe at. I was reading something one day last week, maybe, and it said every person is supposed to have 7 different friends that all serve a different purpose.
And I think I might got a few.
I don't have 7.
7's a lot.
7's a lot.
But I get the serving different purposes.
Right, because one person is the person that's going to make you smile. One person is the person to make you happy. And I say that I don't have that many friends jokingly.
Yeah, you probably got a friend listening like, darn, I know I must not be.
Probably. I mean, you will know what your purpose is for that person based on what they call you for.
Yeah.
Right. And the same thing for us. We know what that person serves for us based on what we call them for. Do I call you just to go out and have a good time? Or do I call you because I need somebody to pray with me?
Yeah.
Right. So we all know that we have a certain role and we all play a certain character in that person's story. I don't know if I got 7 of them.
And even in the maybe 3 or 4 that you got,
right,
it doesn't mean that the person that I pray with means more to me than the person that I go have a drink with. Like,
because each of those have they're all important to you. So like you said, it doesn't mean one person outweighs the other. It's just that you have to know who can do what, because the person that you can have the drink with may not be the person that you can call and cry with. Right? It may not be the person you can cast all your cares on, right? Because they may go back and tell somebody else when they start drinking with them. They start drinking with them. So you just have to read the room. You have to know who you're in community with. Which is hard, because sometimes people fake it real good. People fake it real good. And so it's a scary place to be in, to not really know who you're dealing with until the cards are shown.
That's why we have boundaries.
That's why you got to set boundaries. No friend, no new friend.
That's what you've been saying the whole episode. So let's talk about grace in friendships. Because we do be holding our friends to a certain standard at times. But the truth is, we are still human. And I be trying to tell, some of my friends that I try to take accountability when it comes to what I've possibly have done. And that's usually the distance, that when I'm not around for certain things, I'm accountable for that. But I also be like, can I get some grace? Because it's not like I'm out here just, doing nothing. I'm busy.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing that you're able to vocalize that, though, like communicate that to people. So like if I'm on the other end of that and you're like, okay, I need a little bit of grace because this is what I have going on. I understand now, right? So when you circle back, I'll be like, you good? Right? I just feel like the people that once you communicate that, they'll get in line, but you got to communicate that.
Yeah. And it also, requires them to communicate that they might be feeling some type
a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is hard, because you don't want anybody to feel like you're whiny or anything like that. But really, friendships are just like any other relationship that you're in. It takes communication.
Yeah.
So if you're not telling me how you feel or that I've wronged you, how do I know?
Right.
Right. I don't want to make assumptions, but I'm going to start assuming if you don't tell me. Right. So I feel like that's only fair. As long as I'm communicating, that's my boundary. And now when I circle back, don't act like you didn't know where I was gone. Right?
Yeah.
Because this is what I needed from me.
Because forgiveness and accountability can exist.
Oh,
together.
Absolutely. And forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean that I want to take it back to where it was either. It may just mean that this is how I need to close off this chapter.
Or this might be the new space.
It might be the new space.
Yeah.
We're going to take away what was. I forgive you. You hurt my feelings, whatever. Let's start fresh.
Right.
Right. And it's okay to have to do that. Because again, like for us, we went from teenagers to now, we gonna tell how we're almost 40.
Dang, Mill.
Almost 40. That's almost a 20-year span. Well, it is a 20-year span, right? So we could be in our feelings about the time that we have lost, or we can be like, all right, we talked about it. This is where we are. Well, either we're going to continue to sit there, either we move forward, or we be like, I'm okay with where we are.
Yeah.
Right. And that's okay too. Like you have to be okay with what the other person wants. And it's hard because sometimes we want more than what the other person may be willing to give us right now. But you have to be okay and respect their boundary too. And I think that's the biggest thing because a lot of people look at boundaries like this is just something that I put in place for me. But how receptive and respectful are we to the other person's boundaries too?
And you just said boundaries for us. But sometimes we might choose, I'm going to put a boundary here so that this is for you, so that I don't have to maybe take so personal that you need some space right now, that you need some grace right now, that you might be at a different pace or you might be growing in a different direction. So, you know what? Instead of sitting over here in my feelings about it, then maybe I am going to reconsider this boundary so that I'm not making you feel like you got to come coddle me.
Right. And the grace of it is, like you said, I'm needing some space right now, but there's going to come a time where those tables will flip and you may need it as well. So being open to saying, all right, do what you got to do. I'll be here when you get back. Like that's a huge thing for any friendship, any relationship. I mean, if you're married or whatever, can't just walk out and be like, hey, I'll be back. But any relationship to be able to say, okay, I understand you're going through something and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a lot of things that we're saying on this episode, it can feel like kind of cutthroat,
Yeah.
kind of harsh. So, how do you hold compassion for these boundaries while still honoring them? Like, how can you hold compassion for the person that you're putting the boundary in place for?
Compassion for me is just an act of love and it lets the other person know that I empathize with how you feel.
Yeah.
Right. So although I understand what I mean to you, I also want you to understand what I need from you for me, which requires me to put this in place. And the boundary doesn't mean that the person's cut off.
Yeah.
It could just mean the wall's up, but there's a little door with a keypad. You got to have a key to get in, right? You don't just get free entry. So I think the compassion for me is just knowing that I still love you, regardless if I'm on the other side of that wall or not. But I also respect where you are and what you need from me.
Yeah.
And also, if it's the other way around, I would want you to respect what I need for me too.
My boundary doesn't equate to I don't love you. I don't care anymore. I don't support you.
Yes.
My boundary is I need what I need. You mean what you mean to me.
I understand how you feel.
And both of those things can exist.
They can exist at the same time.
Yeah. I think that people absolutely sometimes take our boundaries as like they don't care about me anymore. They don't love me no more.
Yeah.
Or
it's that rejection piece.
Yeah. And it's not rejection. It's protection.
It's protection.
Yeah.
But on the face of the other person, it feels like, oh, they pushed me out. It feels like rejection. And sometimes it's hard to know the difference.
Yeah. We got to work on that though.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, that's core when it comes to self first.
It is.
Because I can't put myself first if I'm out here always trying to figure out how to not have my friends and they feeling.
You would stress yourself out.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to be authentic in what you need. And again, setting those boundaries for what you need. And you don't want to say making other people, but aligning other people to get on track with it.
Yeah.
And like you said, just because I set the boundary does not mean I don't love you any less. It doesn't mean that I don't still have love for you and that I still don't want you in my circle, but this is what I need right now at this moment. The boundary may not be forever.
And we have talked about self first way before the podcast. I think I remember years ago kind of telling you where self first was originating for me. How do you feel about when it comes to friends and friendships and self first? How do you find the balance? What might be the struggle for someone listening that might be hearing what we've said for these last 30 plus minutes? What will you tell them about the difficulties of truly creating the boundaries? Because I think we're making it sound easy and it's not always easy.
The truth in setting the boundary is that it comes with a lot of uncertain space, meaning you won't know what you're doing when you're doing it. You just know what you need in that moment. And sometimes it takes a lot of self-reflection of how did I even get to this place? And you have to do an account of why do you even need the boundary to begin with, right?
That's good.
What do I have myself surrounded with that I need to set a boundary for? And that's going to come from evaluating your emotional state and your physical state, because sometimes it continue into other things. When you're around these people or these situations, that's when you know, like, okay, I need to set this up. But that's where you have to first start, is to do a self evaluation. Where am I? What's causing me to need this boundary? And how can I set those moving forward? And it may be something as small as, for example, for work for me, I had to set a boundary because it was causing me to have extreme bouts of anxiety. So instead of me having my notifications on after hours, I turned everything on silent.
Yeah.
Even on the weekends now, instead of me getting dings for emails, even if it's on vibrate, I don't have any notifications for emails going to my phone at all, Monday through Sunday. I have to intentionally go in there and check the email if I want to see. That's a boundary for me. That's setting up a safe space for me for my own mental clarity, my own mental calmness, because it was causing me to be on edge. Every time I hear my phone, vibrate, I feel like I had to do something. So that was something that I had to put in place for myself. So sometimes it just takes sitting back. What is this doing to me? How can I reevaluate the situation, and what can I do about it? It doesn't have to be necessarily that it's people. Sometimes it's just to think.
Turn the phone on, do not
Turn the
disturb.
phone on, do not disturb.
I used to be so ticked when, especially them kids, like I pay them cell phone bills and the phone on do not disturb.
Who are you hiding from?
Right. But I get it now because I'm hiding. That phone go on do not disturb at a certain time at night. But somehow, some way, I've accidentally put it on do not disturb starting at 9 a.m. And I'll be trying to keep it on. But my boss,
why you didn't answer your phone?
My boss texted me one day, do you know your phone's on do not disturb while I'm at work? Look, so I get it.
But no.
Yeah, that was an accident. It really was an accident. I know she listened to
protecting my peace.
Accident, but I kind of like to leave it there because it feels good.
It does feel good to be able to just pick it up on your own. But little things like that, it doesn't have to be some grand scheme of, setting your boundary, but something as simple as turning off the notifications on your email can be something that sets a boundary for you. Right. So it doesn't have to be something big, bite-sized pieces.
Yeah. And when it comes to our friendships, we also have to understand that friendships doesn't mean unlimited access.
Preach. That's a word.
Yeah, because we think, I got some friends, and I might have a friend that's be like, you done did the same thing, but I have to learn that too. Like,
you was in that moment.
I done called back. You didn't answer my FaceTime. What's going on?
Right.
But I'm recognizing that that's a problem. Like, that we got to work on as individuals, that friends, family, even spouse.
It does not mean unlimited access.
Only Jesus.
You're the only one. I promise you, there ain't gonna be no email notifications. You can run, but you can't have. But no, that's real. My love and compassion for you does not mean unlimited access.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Right.
To say no.
So my last question is, how do you check in with yourself to know if a friendship is still healthy? And I want to say still because, again, we have these friendships, and sometimes you have to do that self-evaluation sometimes. Like, is this still serving me?
And it kind of sounds selfish, but what is it doing for me? How is it serving my purpose? How is this helping me grow? How is this building on to who I'm trying to become? If you have a one-sided relationship, it's not a relationship. It's just not. And your friendships are partnerships just like any other relationship. So if it's not serving us both, then I have to reevaluate and say, is this really serving the purpose that it's here for? Or has that time come to an end?
Because sometimes we give passes to our friendship. When we think about our spouse, we oftentimes might question that relationship and say, is this growing me? Is this serving me? But we sometimes give our friends a pass in that area.
And a lot of we tie to, we're loyal. We've been friends for so long, but that's not enough. Time doesn't give you permission to excuse poor behavior either. Just because we have a lot of history and a lot of time doesn't mean that I just forget everything that you're doing or you're not doing. I have to be okay with saying, this just isn't it anymore. I'm not happy here.
And that's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. Because as I said before, we got to learn to let people love us and love people and let them leave and choose to leave.
Love me or leave me. I'm just
because I got to be happy.
Listen, like, I want us both to be happy. And if we can't do that together, well, then it might be best. As friends, if we just go our separate way. I don't want to hold you hostage and make you feel like because we have this history that we have to make this work. I feel like you stress yourself out more trying to make things work that just don't work. If it's organic, it's just going to work.
Yeah.
You don't have to pull teeth to get it to work.
Right. It has to be a win-win in
for
these
sure.
relationships, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, anything else that you want to leave on the table before we cut it?
No. I would just say, if you're going to set boundaries, be consistent with yourself, because if you set the boundary and you go back on what you say, it does you no good to set the boundary. And also be realistic, because sometimes we can set unrealistic boundaries and think that someone's just going to be able to pull a Houdini and make it work. So be consistent and be realistic on what your expectations are. Would you be able to do what you're asking other people to do for you?
I love it. I love this conversation.
Me too.
I love you.
I love you.
Listen, this is another episode of the Self First Podcast, Friends, Boundaries, and Self First. I hope you enjoyed it. Tune in next week and we have a new episode, new guests. Have a good night.
Bye.
Why did I say night?
Because it's night.
It's night right now, but it's going to be...
Have a good morning.
Yeah. Have a good day.